Next one is interface circuits. The input-output interface circuit is a mediator between the input-output device and the system to which this input-output has to be connected. In our earlier condensed bus structure, we had discussed a little about the input-output interface, where we have seen that the one of the end of input-output discuss interface to connected to the system of bus and the other connected to the input devices. In this context, we will have discussed input-output interface. Input-output interface circuits have some more detail along with its entire functioning. As a two variant of interface, input-output interface circuits designed to input-output devices of a process. We know that in every component of module, the computer has its own distinct capacities and process speeds. For example, the processing speed of the CPU is much higher than the other components of the computer, such as keyboard, display, etc. So we need a mediator to make the computer communicates with the input modules, and this mediator refers to as an interface circuits. Now observe the figure below. We can easily see that the end of the interface circuits is connected to the system bus lines, address bus, data line, and a control line. So in a bus is connected to address decoder, control, and data unit. Its call is connected to the input-output devices through the buses. It's having the addresses decoded with interface and determine the process address this particular input-output devices. Input-output devices or not. Circuits decode to identify the kind of the operations request to the process and data transfer to the input-output devices. So other side interface circuits is connects that are the essential to transfer the data between the input-output interface circuits and input-output devices, and this input-output devices and input-output interface circuits as every components of modules of computer is disconnected. The capacity and processing, for example, processing and the speed of the CPU is much higher than the other components of a keyboard, display, etc. So in the bus input-output devices interface circuits is having a data register, temporary register to transfer the data, and interface is having status registers. The status registers indicated the process whether the input-output devices is set in transfer the data or not. And the interface of circuit also has central register. This is having operations read and write request to process of input-output interface. Address decoding circuits decode the addresses, and the time signaling synchronize the operation between the processor and input-output devices. So interface circuits is responsible to format conversations essential to exchanging data between the processor and the input-output devices. So parallel port is understanding to interface with a parallel port. We will have the discuss in input-output devices, and it's a parallel port. We will take to examine input-output devices. The input-output device observe the port we connected the keyboard and the processors. Keyboard and the process Now whether the keyword is tabbed to the keyboard and the electrical connections of established to generate the electrical signals. So here the process having transfer the data, then address bus read and write options, and it's connected to some kinds of data and status registers and then encode, and it's connected to the keyboard and its parallel input output devices in the keyboard access. Output port is shown in figures. To connect it to display the process is to display the full process. It's having a data bus, address bus, and read and write, and masters and slave. So data set transfer if it is ready, and a new data is also the entry into the display. So serial port is connecting the process in a serial manner to transfer the data from source to destinations. It's having a status and control registers, and its data input and output units. These are the serial port. Asynchronous serial port is a synchronous transmission clock used to transmit the data, not in synchronized. And synchronized serial is up to the synchronous is a continuous time seeing to approach the particular process to transfer the data based on its speed. So these are all the main data in this one.